Brian, and you got to be impressed when a guy wears a tux to an event like this. That's not bad. 'Cause actually, I told him I would, and he said, "Okay, I'll wear one too." He fell for the joke. Anyway, thank you all for being here. Great turnout. Thank you very, very much. And I'm just proud and pleased that my good friend Kevin McCarthy is here today to celebrate with us the opening of this fantastic headquarters. I got to say, we kind of got lucky on it. Just works perfectly for us. And but Kevin, it's special that Kevin is here today. He is the whip of the House. That's the #3 leader in the House of Representatives. And Kevin does battle every single day with Nancy Pelosi and Harry Reid and Barack Obama and my opponent Raul Ruiz. He's battling with them to turn around the direction of this country. President Obama is taking us on a path we know does not work well. He's battling against a health care policy that is still dropping people from their insurance, not allowing them to keep the doctor that they want, and is helping drive this economy into a part-time economy. Folks, do you realize we're 4.5 years into an economic recovery? 4.5 years, and it doesn't feel like that to me at all. And that's because his policies of Obamacare, over-regulation, high taxation, and literally, I think he's making it up as he goes along. It's an executive order, change this, add this, subtract that. I don't know what they're doing. That's why we need leadership. I said, I don't think they know what they're doing. We need bold leadership with a clear vision of where America should be right now. This economy is stalled. We need to unleash the greatest economic engine in the history of the world, and that is the free enterprise, free market system that has made this country so proud. So folks, thank you. I want to thank all of you, especially my wife Gina, who's trying to hide here in the crowd. Thank you for coming, sweetie. We just had our big Sacred Heart Gala last night that Gina was in charge of. We had Bill O'Reilly and Dennis Miller. There was a great event. Huge success. Don was there. It was a great event. And with that, I would like to introduce our whip of the House, Congressman Kevin McCarthy.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate great turnout. Here we are on a Sunday afternoon, down in the desert, wearing desert casual. But first and foremost, I want to thank you for coming. But I don't want to give you any false impression. This is going to be a tough race. But that's why we have to start now. Now, if you ever sat back and you ever wondered that you watched the country change before your eyes and you wonder what you could do to make a difference, here it is. This race will set the tone of who controls Washington. More importantly, set the tone of what direction Washington is going to go. Many times I read about your current member, he tries to say he reaches across the aisle. No. He doesn't reach across the aisle because he's so far to the left he doesn't know where the aisle is. He only votes maybe our way when it's already there. His philosophy is fundamentally different than what this district is about. This district has been trending. You look at the registration in a Republican manner. When I look at all the seats for a potential pickup, I rate this as #1 in California. Because if we do our work, we've got the best ability to win. But more importantly, you want to find somebody that knows the district, that understands the district, that's from the district. We can't find a better candidate than Brian.
Yeah.
Now, I've known Brian a long time. I've known this district a long time. I see a lot of friends in the room. But we're going to have an ability to win one seat over the top. We got Bonnie Garcia right here running for the Senate. I served with Bonnie. Anyone that serves with Bonnie knows they're with Bonnie all the time. But that Senate race over the top of us is going to be helpful. But what's more importantly is if we want to send a message to Pelosi, if we want to send a message to this president, this is the race to do it in. Brian's been a part of it. But we can't sit back. When I see a turnout like this is fantastic. Now I'm going to tell you something that's, we may be in the majority, but the Democrats want it back very badly. They're raising more money than Republicans are raising. Because they bring that Air Force One down, he raises millions of dollars. They have $8 million more in the DCCC than the NRCC does. That's $8 million more to spend in races. So we have to pick up the pace. We got to make sure the candidate has the resources and we can also be the cavalry. So we got to expand this. I won't ask you to do anything that I haven't done. I've maxed out to Brian. And just like Einstein said, there's no miracle in this world. The only one there is a time value of money. Earlier, the better. So I want you to max out with money, but I also want you to max out with time. The more people we bring engaged, the sooner we'll get there. The more people that we're able to express what this race is about. How can, when you see what's going on in Obamacare, when the report comes out and says 2.6 million people will lose a job because of it, what does the White House say? Oh, that's good news. Now people don't have to work. Well, who pays for all this? And you've got a current member of Congress that supports that. Not just supports it, but champions it. We've got to send a real message. The biggest message we can send is sending Brian to Washington. Now, I think we got some time to take a couple questions.
That'd be great.
How else? I don't know if you ever watched that show, House of Cards.
I do.
If anyone's seen it, there's this guy on there who plays the majority whip. He happens to be down in your area right now, too, because he's practicing for the tennis tournament. He thinks he's going to win. And I was with him a couple weeks ago.
He wins a lot of things.
But I was with him a couple weeks ago, and there's one thing he asked me before we put in the show that's the only thing that's true. He asked me what I tell members as a whip. I said, vote your district, vote your conscience, but just don't surprise me. And right now, you don't have a member that does that. This is a member that just rubber stamps for Barack Obama. So if you want to do something about this country, this is the time to do it. So let me see if you got any questions, comments, ideas?
Oh, come on, you guys.
Come on,
I know there's
Terry.
plenty of thoughts and ideas out there. Terry, you always have
Yeah.
a head full of them.
Hey, listen, when he gets back to DC, I have no control and I have no questions because it's not gonna help anyway.
Well, the most important thing we could do is, before you leave, we want you to sign up. Sign up to come back here. And with technology today, we can have you do a lot of different help in different parts of this district throughout. And we need to get the message out. Because they're going to try to do the resources to say something different. They know they're afraid of Brian because what he can do and what he's done before. So we want to make sure we always get the record straight.
Checkbooks. Everybody get their checkbooks out. Write checks.
Thank you, John.
Need money.
Money is very important. If you don't have the resources, and I want to tell you the difference between the candidate having money and the party having money. If the candidate goes to spend their money on TV, they get a different rate than if the NRCC buys. It's half the cost. So your money actually goes further. So if there's ever ability, and look, we've got some time before the campaign, before the election, so we can put you on a payment schedule too. So we get as much as we can to get as much of the message out as possible. The sooner we buy it, the cheaper it is.
Can I, actually, if I can mention another difference between my opponent and myself, and a vote that you had in the House a couple weeks ago, the Farm Bill.
Yes.
And that was, most of that money goes towards food stamps. And I think it's about a 1% cut in food stamps. And my opponent, Congressman Ruiz, said, no, we can't cut 1% from food stamps. And let me tell you a quick story why I think he's wrong in that regard. Somebody did, one of the news teams, one of the channels did a report following the path of food stamps. They followed it all the way down to San Diego. And they followed it to a guy, a 26-year-old young man, who was getting food stamps, and he's a surfer dude. He's out there on the beach surfing, he's in a rock band, trying to become a rock star, and he's on food stamps. He's on food stamps, they're barbecuing lobster in the backyard, drinking beer, and then finally the reporter says, do you feel guilty about taking this money? He says, oh no, that's what the government's for. Folks, that is a problem. We flipped on its head the meaning of the United States, the DNA of the United States. I always like to give my favorite quote of all the great quotes from great presidents and members of Congress and so forth, is one quote that I think sums it up. Ask not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country. Folks, now, yes, now we have a 26-year-old able-bodied young guy saying, gimme, gimme, gimme. John Kennedy came from the greatest generation, was served in World War II. That was the ethos of America then. We got to bring that back, folks. We need to bring that back. And Kevin McCarthy, with your leadership, I know you're pushing for that. If we get the Senate presidency, we'll be on a roll.
That's right.
So, folks, if nothing else. Yes, sir. Yes, Randy.
What can we do about getting rid of or fix passing, if necessary, Obamacare. Everybody and their brother is convinced, except a few left-wingers, that it's not working. The CBO says it's not working. They talk about how good it is to lose over 2 million jobs. I mean, how do we got a majority in the House, and I realize the Senate is sort of in control, but what can we do?
I think you have to repeal it and start over. Folks, there was things wrong with our healthcare system, there's no doubt about that. But we could have passed single bills that were comprehensible, that you could read and fix the system. Instead of doing a 2,000-page bill that Speaker Pelosi admittedly said they hadn't read, that's a disaster, and we're seeing that now. We have to simplify. They have these overly complicated bills that they have no idea what the ramifications of those bills will be, and that's what we have seen now, and I'm sure there's more to come. We have to stop that. Kevin, take that away.
Well, the first thing, if you really want to send the message, you send Brian to Washington. They'll send the clearest message of the president that he'll, even though all the reports and everything else is showing it, that it's not working, it's time to change, and it'll help give us the momentum, actually help us to win the Senate at the same time. Look, I appreciate the turnout today, but we need to actually do more. We need to actually bound together, expand the base, and grow. You've watched what the Democrats did in that last campaign. They got new technology, they go and they bring the people all into the district. We build from people within the district out. And so, we'll never tell you we don't need you. We need you each and every day. We need your phone calls, we need your work, and we need your resources. And we need you to bring people with you. We're going to expand this and make this, because the most unique thing I've always known about Brian, what he tells you in this room, he says the exact same thing behind closed doors. And he's never not fought for this area. He knows it better than any other person I've ever seen come out of here. He understands it, he knows you, and most importantly, he listens. And he's not afraid to stand up for you. You've seen that, and what a better opportunity we have to send a difference. Thank you very much, and God bless you.
Everybody, there's food and refreshments inside. Please help yourself. Thanks.